On a dark and cold winter night in the far north of Sweden, we see a man trudging through the snow. The wind seems to attack him relentlessly from all angles as he struggles to find his way. A small flicker of light in the distance reveals his destination, and he continues on, picking up his pace. The source of the light is a small pub, and despite the never-ending whistling of the wind, you can hear music and laughter from inside. We see a young barmaid with long dark hair and big brown eyes, and she is navigating between the tables while taking orders from the loud, drunk men. Another man is standing in a corner, entertaining the patrons with his violin. Everyone seems to be so tired, but happy and well-fed, with very little concern for the raging storm outside. Suddenly the door swings open, revealing the man from earlier completely covered in snow. "The mine," he attempts, barely able to catch his breath. "The mine. It is collapsing, it's collapsing. We need to get our men out. Everyone, now." And it's as if a spell has been broken. Panic erupts. Several men scrambling to find their gear while others are already making their way out. An older gentleman is trying to shout orders over the chaos, but he's being mostly ignored. As the last man departs, the young barmaid, now alone, grabs the cross around her neck and says a quick prayer to her Christian God, praying that the men will return safely. The cabin, only moments ago felt so welcoming and warm, is now completely silent and dark. A sinking feeling of powerlessness, she walks over to the fireplace and adds a log, trying to distract herself by the ever-changing movement of the flames. But unfortunately for our young barmaid, she does not see the dark creature coming out from the shadows behind her, its two hands reaching for her neck. And the last thing we see is a flash of green light emitting from the cabin, and the last thing we hear is the terrified scream of a young barmaid. So hello, welcome back, ladies.
Hello.
That was the intro.
That was a good intro, if I do say so myself.
Was it emerald green light, Ellie?
Oh, some might say emerald green?
Yeah.
Some might say that. Some might say
It's really
emerald
important.
green.
It's an important color to us.
Interesting. And write that down.
I did.
I did too.
It's too late.
Are you guys still excited about going to the Sweden, Anne?
I'm so excited about going to the Sweden.
Yeah, I've heard about a place in the Sweden in the winter, a small cabin with a beautiful light emitting from it that I think we should
an
go
emerald
to.
green light, and we should go there immediately and find what's left of the mine.
The beautiful barmaid.
Oh, and that too.
Yeah.
Come on, get your priorities right. I'm
Sorry.
looking for the barmaid.
The thing here's the thing, Eleanor. I'm very excited about making some broad, sweeping assumptions.
Oh,
About Sweden?
that's
I
racist,
already
Anne.
have
Oh.
some thoughts about things that we may experience based on the intro.
Oh, you're saying how this game's gonna go.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, this story is not connected to anything that's going to happen in the game later. Don't worry. This was just me telling you about
That's
a normal day in
A
Sweden.
falsehood and a lie. And I appreciate where your head's at. But yeah, no, I already the thing about me is that I'm going to start making connections, even if there are no connections to be made.
I love it.
So
You're in character.
I've already drawn a connection between Franzabald's emerald,
Oh, of course.
which we never know where it went, the emerald green light, the fact that it's a mine, and jewels are found in mines.
Okay, wait, hold on. Real quick though, because it has been a little bit
Yeah.
since we've been together and also
You didn't listen to our entire last
are you talking
podcast
about?
in preparation for this?
Wait, it's out? No. I have,
Available
of course.
now on stands.
I have, of course. I've listened to it multiple times
Yeah.
because I love it so much.
I know.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Remind me, Anne, because you're on top of it with your note taking. Susanna had an emerald something as well.
Susanna, I believe, was interested in Franzabald, who was our
Who was
original
wearing the emerald.
person,
Yes.
who was kind of had gathered the party and knew both of us before our first mystery, and he was wearing that emerald,
Right, and she was
like, dude, what the fuck?
Do you remember what Susanna looked like?
yeah, she had long black hair. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I made that connection.
But was she a shadow? Because we saw shadowy hands in the intro.
I know, but the barmaid, I think, might have been Susanna in the past because she was working like odd jobs.
Oh.
That's a cool assumption there, Sid, but I guess we'll never find out because,
we'll
again,
never know.
this thing has
the things that
nothing
been. Thanks for coming to episode 4.
And that's it. We just wanted to kind of tell this one-off random tale.
Exactly. This is the tale from the north.
This is such a dumb question. Did we do 4 episodes already or 3?
3.
A prologue.
A triptych.
Yes. Yeah. So having said that, yes. So welcome back also to our audience.
Yeah,
We've had a little bit of a break.
Back.
We did a prologue of 3 episodes. That was basically just me wanting to try the system with my 2 best friends.
Hi.
Yeah, that's true. You guys are my best friends. You don't have to. You don't have to share that feeling with me if you don't feel the same. But it's fine. Anyway, we're back now with the first season, and
I can't decide if it's terrible
that we didn't say anything. She didn't give us a pause either.
Yeah.
You got steamrolled. You're like, it's fine. You don't have to say it back. Continuing on.
The thing about Ellie is she makes broad sweeping assumptions as well. So if you don't interrupt her to tell her something, she'll be like, yes, you do hate me, and the end of the world is coming tomorrow. So let's move on. Grave. Anyways, yes, we love you too, Ellie.
Oh,
very much so.
Well, I said best friends, but never mind. All right, starting off great. We are here back now for a full season. And I know a lot of people have been asking, like, what's the plan? What are we planning to do here? And yeah, we're hoping to tell this story. But, you know, like this story that has nothing to do with what we just heard earlier about the little wintry scene.
I can't wait until we make the connection and Ellie just goes, and wouldn't you know, it was all connected to that intro. We're going to forget about it because you keep bringing it up.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so a lot of things have happened, though, since we left off. But before we get into the details, I have another little cutscene for you.
Ooh. Another cutscene? Get your notepads ready, everybody.
I love when we go to the cutscenes and the graphics are like so much better in the cutscenes. I'm like, this should play this. This is a movie for me. Anyway, go on.
Well, so now I want you to imagine that you're a bird. No.
What the fuck?
No, it's not a bird.
I was really sad for that imaginary bird because I knew it was coming.
No, it's a rainy autumn night in the city of Uppsala. A horse carriage pulls up on a quiet street next to an old mansion. A young man, we know him as Henrik O'Doherty.
That's me.
And a woman, Astrid Nyberg.
It's Nyberg.
Nyberg. Damn it, I tried to Americanize it and then I forgot what you actually said. They step out of the carriage. No one says a word as they solemnly walks up towards the entrance. A tall, older man is waiting for them there. His posture is strict, composed, and he is observing them with cold, calculating eyes. As they approach the man, Henrik takes off his hat. Astrid places a hand on the tall man's shoulder. A second carriage pulls up and 4 men carefully lifts something out from its storage. It's a coffin. When the tall man sees this, something changes in his demeanor and a small whimper leaves his lips. Up until that moment, it was as if his brain had refused to accept what had been communicated with him. But now reality was catching up to him in the form of a wooden crate carrying the love of his life.
Oh my God! His partner!
He takes a few trembling steps towards the coffin, but his legs gives in, and he collapses, letting out a deep, guttural shriek of pain and grief. Astrid falls to her knees next to him, takes him in her arms, and through her own tears, cradles him, whispering soothing words as the rain continues to fall. And we leave this scene and move 3 years into the future.
This is a terrible movie.
Oh, this cutscene was bad, and I was very sad.
In that it was good, and I felt bad feelings.
I felt awful, horrible feelings. Yep, so it's 3 years in the future. I sent you guys a couple of things that I wanted you to prepare that you guys have been up to for these past 3 years, because where we left off, you were at the graveyard visiting Franzvold and finally found his message. I'm sure that wasn't too late.
We learned he also had a cat, so sure that wasn't too late either.
Catgate 2020
Exactly.
will always remain. If you don't know that your best friend has a cat, then are you their best friend? I still pose that question to you, Elliot.
I mean, maybe you weren't best friends.
Maybe we weren't as close as we thought we were.
Brutal.
Whatever.
So Astrid, why don't you tell us, the audience, what Astrid has been up to?
Well, Franzvold was kind enough to leave myself and my husband, Johan, Castle Gillenkreutz. Gillenkreutz?
Sure.
Gyllenhaal.
That's what it's going to be. It's from now on, Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. And this is also, of course, home to the society.
Right.
So, along with that, of course, I would be the caretaker for his partner, Alget.
Alget
And,
Frisk.
the hired chef, the fantastic Britta Engelsdotter.
Yep. I chose the hardest Swedish names I can think of.
A plus Richmond. And together, we all put together the idea of turning the castle into a local hotel as a cover, because it's a beautiful castle and castles deserve to be seen. But as a local occultist and believer in magic, I don't want to be burned as a witch. So I think this is an excellent cover, a good cover. I will say that I cannot imagine that I've been able to quite keep from Johan everything at this point. So that was probably another thing that happened during this.
That you told him everything?
That not everything, but just I think he's probably aware that I'm a part of something. But at this point, I think he's in too deep. So I don't think he knows quite everything as someone who does not have the sight, which Alget also does not have the sight, and Britta doesn't either.
No. In the same way that everyone who lives in this castle without the sight, they have been part of supernatural things, and they're like weird things are happening, so they think that the house is haunted in the same way that most people think that castles are haunted. But
they are.
And then the sad, like, this is like being paranoid and finding out, no, you were actually followed. The castle is haunted. but yeah, so, and it's also, I just wanted to say that this is also part of the book, Fasten the System. So we didn't introduce this in the prologue, but the players do have access to this, exactly, a home base that they can upgrade and do cool things with.
And I think the more I think about it, what I think I have probably told Johan is that this is my opportunity to finish my mother's research on local folklore and folk tales, and that, you know, if he truly cares about me, if he loves me, he'll let me have this, and I promise to be a good and dutiful wife in all other ways. Yes. But this is where my mother's friends lived and where she did a lot of her research, and to that end, I think he would be more than amenable to kind of turning a blind eye.
And perhaps he's always been very supportive of even if he doesn't believe it. It's like similar to having someone in your family that might have a religion that you don't believe in, but you're still like, it makes them happy. So like,
I think it's also a bit of a, you know, when we first talked about who Johan was, he's a bit of just a reliable, boring guy.
Right.
And I think that Astrid's ability to tell stories and kind of Scheherazade him in a way is probably something that he loves about her, genuinely. And she likes when people will listen to her talk. So it's probably a good match in a weird way.
And also he perhaps he's, you know, you landed a freaking mansion.
It's hard to say no.
Exactly.
To Castle
and
Jake Gyllenhaal.
And you were awarded a new title based on that. So you basically climbed the social ladder.
It's true. We've on a purely mechanical sense, I have gone up a rung in my what's it called? Oh no,
class?
my resources. Yes, so I've gone from a 4 to a 5. it's not bad. It's not a bad progression.
Right.
Because she, as a young girl, was poor. So I've gone up several rungs on that ladder since we
See,
started.
who said Sweden was the land of opportunity and self-made men?
So yes, we've been able to climb the social ladder, and in that time as well, I've begun a little bit of research on gemstones that Franzabald left in our collection at the castle. Some of them they seem to have some sort of supernatural bent to them, which would be supported by the reaction that we saw in our first mystery of Susanna to his emerald. And it's also really made me wonder what the hell Franzabald was doing, wearing that emerald out in public and flaunting it like some sort of madman. And so in that way, I think that's pretty much what I've been doing, sort of designing the front end of the castle to be incredible silk curtains. I've always cared about what I wear, but now I have help.
Oh, you have
And
help.
I can look even more incredible.
Yes.
The silks, so many colors.
So many colors.
It's incredible. But yeah, that's what she's been up to.
Oh, very nice. And then another happy little 3 years going on for, of course, our old Irishman, Henrik. Tell us, what have you been up to? Any bad dreams lately?
Oh, all the time. So after the funeral and all the events were taken care of for Franzabald, Henrik actually went back to Ireland. Did not want to be in Uppsala, did not want to be anywhere near anything that had to do with the events that passed. So it was rough. He said goodbye to Astrid and basically said, I'll probably never see you again, but this was nice, except for all the horrible parts, and left. And he probably said it a little bit like that because he's a ladies' man. So I went back to Dublin, where I was living with my wife, Aoife. I grew up in Waterford, but we currently live in Dublin, where my practice is. And it was not great. I'm struggling a lot in my relationships, all aspects of them, including with Aoife. We were on the rocks before I left for Sweden, but the time apart did not help. My practice, I put my partner in charge of it. I couldn't deal with the stress of new cases. I can't sleep. I stopped eating. Aoife kept telling me to go to the doctors. The doctor said there's nothing wrong. They gave me pills to sleep, pills to wake up. Aoife said she couldn't handle it anymore. So I left again. And I recently wound up back in Uppsala. Thought maybe I could take on cases here. Thought maybe I could learn more about why I can't sleep, why I'm having the dreams I'm having. Maybe I could help my relationships. I don't really know what I'm doing. I took out a room above a brothel. It was the cheapest I could find. I'm running a bit low on funds. I've been taking small cases here and there, nothing big. Astrid has asked to see me multiple times. I've ignored her letters. I'm going to have to see her soon. She knows I'm back in Uppsala. She's seen me out getting fika. Getting cinnamon buns.
From the sounds of it, the only good thing you remember about your trip to Sweden.
Honestly, like, he has been out getting cinnamon buns because it makes him think of Franzabald. But yeah, basically just having a really tough time going through it in all the ways, but especially the sleep. I just not being able to sleep is really fucking with Henrik.
Right.
And then it's starting to become the idea that, is it the dreams that are bad, or is it the lack of sleep that's making him like have hallucinations almost and cause worse things, you know? But it's like full on sleep paralysis.
And which is which?
Right? I think there's, with the surrealism of what went down before with Susanna. And like Susanna, like he has dreams where he sees Susanna holding Franzabald's head, and he has dreams where he sees Franzabald holding Susanna's head, and Susanna turns into a monster and like tears open Astrid, and like everybody's dying, and it's like the worst things you can imagine. And he wakes up in a pool of sweat and then takes a bunch of pills to get out of bed and go do something. So, yeah.
I feel like there's also, to catch people up on the last mystery, I suppose. I feel like Henrik also was very not pro-sight, always wanting to ground things in reality whenever possible. So I imagine that this is actually potentially not even helping him accept the sight, because could easily be written off as hallucinations from sleep.
And I think that was the problem with Aoife, with my wife too, was that if I ever brought it up, seeing things or feeling like I was, losing it, she would just say, go to the doctor. And the doctor would prescribe pills. And they never thought I was insane, but it was like, you're not sleeping well, you're stressed out, you're a private detective, you PTSD. So yeah, I think he's really fighting the sight side of himself, and with that is coming more confusion.
So both of us have gone even further down the paths that we were on before.
Yep.
Oh no.
At least she got a castle. I'm
I mean,
living in a
it's true.
tiny room above a brothel, and it smells bad all the time.
I mean, listen. You dress for the job you want.
Henrik looks like shit. He looks like absolute trash.
I'm pretty.
I'm pretty.
So we're before we get into it, I just wanted to briefly talk a little bit about experience points from our last.
Yeah.
So experience points is basically how you level up in this system, even though it's not really a leveling up system. You just get better. Yeah. It's like humanity.
Get good, bro.
You get better. And so I awarded you 6 experience points from the last step, and we talked a little bit about it off air, what you guys wanted to buy. We were discussing how much things cost, and for example, it's 5 experience points basically to either get a skill or a talent.
And if you're curious about where it is in the book, if you're looking to play, it's on page 25. It's actually in the character creation section and not in the section on equipment or on attributes or on all the other things.
Right.
So if you're looking, that's where it is.
And you can also, and this is why we're talking so much about this mansion that was left behind, is that you can also use experience points to upgrade parts of the mansion. However, I made Algot Frisk a butler, so you get that for free.
Yay! And we have a chef.
And you have a chef. I gave you that for free as well, damn it.
But it was Friendsible's.
Exactly. Friensible would
and
not...
And they're loyal, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Friensible would not have a chef, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I also wanted to say something that at the castle, there are nooks and corners and rooms that seem to move, and it's a very weird castle. So
magical castle.
It's a very magical castle, and there are like doors that won't open.
Oh.
And this reminds me of a horror game that I played, which was basically me opening doors and freaking out.
Wait, it was
Songs of Horror.
Yes, which I loved watching you play, and then quit almost every time.
Oh yeah,
exit out and play a different game.
I spent 15 minutes every time, and then.
I gotta play that game, man.
Yeah, please do, because I kind of want to see what happens, but I don't have the balls.
How far did you get into it?
like chapter 1, 10% in or something. It's a terrifying game.
Okay.
But yeah. So there are. So that's the thing with the castle. But let's just get into present time then. You guys just came back, haven't seen each other apparently for a while.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay. My question is, are we also able to buy equipment during the 3-year break? Or
yeah.
No?
Sorry. Yes, of course. Yes. You if you guys want to do anything before we start.
This is very important.
Uh-oh.
I need a dog.
Yeah. Okay.
I need a hunting dog.
Nice. That's an equipment.
Yes. The hunting dog provides you with a +3 bonus to vigilance, investigation, and close combat.
Oh, nice.
So that would be
nice.
great, because I am so weak. I cannot even tell you.
You will have your own little what's He-Man's dog?
I want a foxhound.
A foxhound.
Because it's like a medium-sized dog.
A medium.
Short-haired with like sable coloring, some browns, some blacks, and some whites. And his name is Thor.
Thor.
And he brings the hammer. What can I say?
He brings the hammer.
And I would also like a bow. because I don't have any weapons. And that was very difficult last time because I don't think I could do.
Yeah.
So I believe I can buy that with capital. So every time you go from one mystery to the next, you gain capital based on what your resource level is. And so that carries the same way you would gather in other systems, right? Like gold or treasure or something like that. But if given your level in society, right? So that's kind of like your savings account.
Oh, nice.
Given your level in society, you actually roll based on a combination of it's dice based on what your resource score is, what your empathy and your manipulation score is, to see if you get that many, if your successes meet the availability of an item during the course of an adventure, then you can just straight up buy it then too.
During the course.
Yeah, during the course.
Oh,
of the
that's great.
adventure.
Yeah.
So you don't roll off like the interlude stuff. You only roll during the adventure.
Yeah,
Okay.
but because I live at a lifestyle level that gives me capital, I have straight up just money I can spend where I know how much I have. But during the adventure, if we need to purchase something or we want to try for another piece of equipment, we can always do that.
That's great because, like, you know, in D&D, once you're on an adventure, it's kind of like you don't get shit until you kill
Finish.
someone or go to a town.
Yeah.
Like,
And you also just have to track a lot less.
Yeah.
Like you're never in this game. It's very unlikely that you're ever going to be, dealing with thousands. But the fact is that if I'm a super rich person, the likelihood of me being good for it, right,
You
is
could pay it
high.
off, yeah.
But I might have also spent. So this kind of accounts for the, general day-to-day spending without making it quite so crunchy, but always giving you a chance that you can achieve an item if you want it.
I like this a lot, and I'm going to say to, like, kind of retrofit and retcon what I said. So I said that Henrik and Astrid haven't seen each other. We've seen each other.
Right.
But it's been, like, I would assume Astrid wants, like, Henrik to, like, spend more time. She's like, you're back. And Henrik's kind of like, I'm back, but not for this.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
I think we've probably had lunch.
and I was going
And
to say.
I'm like, come see the castle. And you're like, no.
I will say, though, more recently,
Yeah.
Henrik has come to the castle, but in need of money to get some of these resources.
Sure.
And when you see him that next time, it's been like a few months,
Yeah.
When you see him that next time, he looks like shit. Like thin, gaunt, not healthy, sallow, like just not looking good. And he just needs money for lockpicks and some knuckle dusters.
Well, let's go shopping.
So we go shopping together.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you want to role play this shopping?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, I thought you were going to say, do you want to roll for it? Because we would have
Oh.
to, because I've already spent my capital.
Right,
I could spend it on that. I could spend my money on that. But
Do
I'm
you
just,
have capital?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so what's your,
My resources is 4.
Okay,
This is
so
so
your
great.
resources is 4, which means you have 2 capital.
Okay.
So what's the availability on lockpicks?
2.
2. So you can spend 2 on lockpicks.
And then my knuckle duster is also 2.
Yeah, so 2 from the last mystery because you didn't spend it, and then 2 from this mystery, and
Awesome.
now that's it.
So technically I can buy it, but
Yep.
let's just say anyway I show up and I look like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, during the adventure, if you guys want to go and do stuff, like feel free to treat this like the game Sims. I want you
Well,
to
Be on the
have a-
floor.
Exactly.
See what you
One
want.
of the things that we got stuck on last time, right, was we were like, how do we prepare for this? This is part of the preparation.
Yeah.
This is part of the preparation.
Totally.
So if we want more, once we know more about what's coming,
Then we can-
during the adventure, we can use those rolls to try to acquire it.
So let's actually then take it back to the present. You have the two of you have met at the graveyard. Franzibal just given you a message that he has hidden something behind his mother's portrait in his bedroom, and that you also need to feed his cat.
Hold on, we're gonna retcon right now. Henrik looks at Astrid and says, was there a cat in the castle?
There is a cat at the castle, and it's been staring at Astrid with hatred for the past 3 years.
Some might say, hungry
Yeah,
eyes.
Exactly. And
Amazing.
the reason why I brought that in is because my favorite thing about Anne is how much she's hated by her own cat.
She does hate me, yeah.
And so you just have that same vicious look from that cat. But yeah, the cat is alive.
Thank God.
am not
Thank
gonna.
God.
I wouldn't kill an innocent animal. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
It's never happened
Never happened
before.
before.
Never happened.
No track record.
Nothing to prove, Sydney. Anyway, so you walk away from the graveyard,
Yeah.
and you go back to... You finally are able to get Henrik to come back with you to the castle. Unless you're gonna be a little bitch about it, Sydney, and force me to come up with
I'm coming. I haven't eaten in 3 days.
Well, we have a wonderful chef.
So on the way back to the castle, Astrid says, you could... I know you're pretty staunchly in support of being on your own, but you would be welcome. We have so many rooms. The hotel is open. We wouldn't even... I know it's not personal, but we wouldn't have to see each other for days on end or even speak if you wanted time to yourself. But I don't mean to offend you. It just looks like things have been a little rough, and I don't want you to feel like you are alone here.
Oh, I appreciate that, Astrid. I know. I do owe Madame Tekla, though, for a few more months. I told her I would continue to rent the room, but I'll think about it. I appreciate the offer. I do.
The door's always open for you.
And as a couple of hours later, you're sitting with Algot, having coffee and fika.
Yes. That's why we play this game, to pretend to eat food.
Every time. I'll throw in some pickled herring there as well.
Yes.
But yeah, so Algot is sitting there with you, and he is very uncomfortable not being a butler, because he's like, if you've seen Downton Abbey, Carson is the butler, and he's like, he would never sit with the the owner, even though he knew you when you were a little girl and came over to hang out with Francibold. Now the status has shifted, and so he feels a little bit like, and he's staring at Henrik, who's clearly like this heroin addicted drug man.
I'm stuffing buns in my mouth.
Exactly, and he's like, oh, okay, but he's not really.
I also love the idea that Johan is just sitting at the head of the table. Just taking it in.
Yeah, and he's probably, I mean, you can tell me if this is wrong, but my interpretation of Johan is that he's so bad at picking up social cues, so he's just not noticing anything wrong with it.
He's talking and like,
so Henrik, you lost some weight? Good for you. Like that kind of stuff. But then he leaves because you guys kind of want to talk to Algot about the letter you heard.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Do you give the letter to Algot so he can read it?
So she knowing that Algot was his partner would want him to see his words and his wishes.
Yes. And Algot is not laughing. He's like, get reminded by Francibold's dumb humor in the way of like,
right.
Oh no.
I will also say that once Johan leaves, Thor jumps up into Johan's seat and begins licking the plate.
What kind of dog is
Foxhound.
Oh, he's a foxhound, right?
Foxhound. Yeah. But then he gets to the point where it says that there's something behind the mother's portrait.
Mm-hmm.
He never mentioned any of this to me. I have no idea what he's talking about. End of the world? What? And he looks at you. What? Do you have any idea what he might be talking about?
You're no Francibold. It's just... Sorry. It was a sticky bun. Well, Francibold is quite eccentric. I think he was exaggerating a bit about the end of the world, Algot. I wouldn't read too much into that.
There are several things in Francibold's collection that I don't know about the end of the world, of course, but he has these gems, these stones that seem to me to be pretty significant. And I know that sounds crazy. I understand that is the way that these things are viewed, but I think we've all seen things that we can't cannot explain.
Well, while you're figuring out that, Algot is like, perhaps we should go to the room and see if we can even see.
No, I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, and so
Feel free to bring that with you.
I'm going to bring this plate with me. I'll get these are quite delicious.
You can thank Britta for that.
Oh,
Britta.
Britta.
Yes.
not- oh,
That's
okay.
right.
Sorry. Never
there she
mind. I didn't realize you were so nothing. You're busy in the kitchen. Sorry.
She brings her glass of wine with her.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so you enter the bedroom.
So one of the things that I think is important to note about this transition through the home is that we came through the very public area to our private dining room, and that it all looks bright. There's new wallpaper, there's new curtains, there's like new tapestries or restored works and things like that that make it look like rich and lavish and decadent, even our private quarters. But the closer we get to Franzbald's room, everything in that hallway is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Everything exactly as he left it.
Yeah.
Because she just cannot bear to change it for the sake of, it's like her way of honoring his memory and honoring his commitment to the society, where she has it cleaned and everything. It's not dirty and full of cobwebs, but it's exactly the way that he would have wanted it.
Yeah.
And she also left it that way for Algit, sorry. as well.
Elliot. Yeah, he might have gone through some of his stuff, just like their stuff. But he hasn't found anything. He would have told you, I think, if he found something of importance, like a journal or something that would have been like end of the world book. Quite quickly, you see the portrait of his mother hanging on the wall. She looks exactly like Franzibald, a female version, like a little bit more like a toad.
Wow.
Wow, wow.
Wow. I think we stand in front of it just going, wow. That's his mother.
Alga is like, right, yes.
Okay.
Did
And
you ever meet?
I did.
mother?
I did. She referred to me as...
Can't
It's
even
all
say
right.
it.
You can say
You
it.
don't have to say it. Algit, do you want to do the honors, or should we just take it down? Or
No, of course. And he takes it down. And behind it, you see...
the cat?
Exactly, behind it is a dead cat.
No.
Behind it, you see nothing. It's a wall.
Henrik goes over and private detectives kind of does like the knocking, finding the stud or the hollow part of the wall.
Seems to be...
I'll do it again, but I'll do a sound effect.
Oh.
Ooh,
What?
sounds solid.
He turns
Still
back and he
nothing.
goes, I don't know why I did that. It doesn't really do anything.
It's stone.
It's stone.
You can't... There seems to be nothing.
Huh.
I look at the portrait and I say, "Do you mind?"
Yes.
And I take it and I take out my knife, which is like in my lady's pocket. Like
Ooh.
that sounds.
No. I know what you mean. Yeah. No, the dress pocket. Not your lady's pocket.
I reach into my pocket that is in my dress and remove a small knife, and I begin cutting at the paper that would have been on the back of a painting to see if there's anything behind the actual painting in the frame.
No, it just says... Franzibald's mom.
Ah,
Like
that's
you would write
weird.
on the back of a phone. It's in her handwriting.
Exactly. Franzibald's mom. Mother of Franzibald, 1809.
Henrik asks Algit, he says, is there any other portrait or photo or picture of his mother anywhere else in the castle?
I mean, we can... And Algit starts to look around and getting a little bit flustered and panicky almost. So he starts taking down more portraits and like trying to see if like, because he feels like, did we miss something here? Is there a secret here that we didn't understand?
Hold
Like,
on, let's wait.
Thor, come here.
Oh.
Come here, boy.
You got a dog.
Well, he was at the dinner table.
I didn't realize it was your dog.
Yes, it's mine. He's mine. Thor. That's a good boy. She like kneels down next to Thor and is just like this beautiful woman all in silks now is just on her knees in this like dingy like old room with this dog, and she gets Thor to smell the sides of the portrait and then she wants Thor to assist in an investigation of like if it's behind the portrait, maybe there's something that the dog can smell about where.
Yep.
Okay.
Roll investigation
All
with all your pluses and
Yeah, we got a
I
roll
will.
in this
All
game,
right,
eh?
so I have
first
3
roll of the year.
for having
First roll
a
of the year.
dog. I have 3 for let's see, investigation. I get nothing
Should I
there,
roll-
but I
should I
got
roll too?
logic. I need one more.
Here.
Thank you.
You can
sorry.
you can roll something that would be helpful for your character.
Yeah. I also investigation. I'm
Okay,
a fucking
right.
private
Right.
detective.
How much investigation do you have?
7, but it's the same. So you roll.
Okay. All right. Here I go. 1 success.
No, 2.
1.
Oh, you're right.
There's a 6
Yep.
and a 4 and several other things that don't matter. So in this game, only 6s count as successes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you seem to be pretty confident that there is nothing in this room. It seems to be solid stone.
I'm rolling investigation.
Go ahead.
Do it.
Wow, I'm high out of my mind. I cannot tell you where anything in this room.
stone right here.
Yeah, Henrik continues to. He's just like, I don't. No. Where'd I put the buns? And he like goes back over and
All
eats
right.
another bun.
Yeah.
She is going to try
He's sweating now.
her new talent to try and be led by the forces of the site and whatever else to where they need to go, what the intention was. And so she takes the letter. She asks for the letter from Algot and takes the letter in one hand. And she takes out her own notebook, which looks very much like her mother's, but is new. And when she opens it up, you just see runes and scribbling and just unintelligible garble on some of the pages as she gets to a new leaf. And she sits there. She takes a deep breath in, and she closes her eyes and begins to scribble. And I'm going to roll an inspiration check to see what I can get from this, which I think is just rolling. Inspiration is 2 plus empathy of 3, so it's 5. And now we pray.
Pray.
All right, 1 success.
Nice. You get a vision. You see. And you're smart enough to know what it means, even though the vision is something else.
Yeah.
But you see basically papers burning up, and you see shades burning up this paper, and so you know that the clues are not here anymore.
Yeah.
And not only that, someone has sabotaged it.
Yeah. She. Huh?
Oh, Henrik was not.
Henrik saw her reaction and said, "Fuck."
Yeah, he saw your face and he went, "Fuck."
Yeah, so her eyes kind of dart open. She looks around and she like stretches her hand because she's been like scribbling so wildly, and she sort of looks around the room at them and she says, well, I think it's safe to say that whatever was here isn't here anymore. And she looks at Algot to try and like gauge what his reaction to them finding nothing is.
Algot looks desperate because it's like someone who's lost their love of their life, and then they find out 3 years later that that person's left a very, very important message, and now he can't find that message. He's concerned that that message is about him. He's concerned that that message is about something that he has forgotten. So he seems to be really, really concerned that someone might have come in here and sabotaged and taken it from him.
Yeah, so now Astrid feels super guilty because she begins to sort of voice out loud like, well, no one would be here. Who could have come into a hotel where we have people stay here all the time?
You don't keep the door locked?
Well, I mean, we do, but things are strange here. Doors are sometimes locked, doors are sometimes opened, and we do our best, but...
Henrik kind of like straightens up, and he's kind of going into like actual detective mode now. Before he was kind of like, okay, I'm going to help Astrid with this like last wish of friends of old, like whatever. And now he's actually concerned, seeing the concern on your face, seeing the concern on Algot's, and he kind of like brushes his pants off and sits up straight. All right, well, we'll need to see your books. We'll take a look at the records, see who's come in. When's the last time the room was cleaned? Who are your cleaners?
Right. Yes, we've done lots of renovations, but none here. But yes, we must have records and receipts of all of those services as well.
Does Johan take care of that?
Yes, primarily.
All right. Let's talk to him.
And so, the next couple of days, you do go through all your banks and checks. No, wait, your checks and whatever that saying is.
Checks and balances?
Checks and balances, yeah. But nothing seems to be off. And I'm gonna even give you like the bonus of it. So you seem pretty confident that there seems to be something going on here that seems impossible, so to speak. Well, supernatural perhaps, because there's just no way that those maids would be able to like if there was like a safe behind the mother's portrait, then like how would they be able to logistically cover it with stone?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Unless it was like a paper taped to the back. This is Henrik thinking out loud. He's like, unless there was another clue and Franz was sending us on a scavenger hunt, why would the wall be sealed off? It doesn't.
Exactly. So you are basically reaching a dead end. And so, Henrik, you go back to your place that night, and having worked with Astrid again, you sort of regaining some of your energy back. You're getting some of your oomph back, and you're feeling a little bit better than you have in a while, mostly because you've eaten a lot of great food.
This episode's title is How Henrik Got His Groove Back.
And like we talked about it before, that you live, you're renting basically from Madame Tekla, who's running this brothel. She's not a very pleasant woman. She doesn't treat her girls really nicely. But you have also befriended a lot of them. And you seem to have a pretty good relationship with them, and you're also not the type of dude who would probably like abuse them and treat them like garbage or anything like that.
No.
But you do have a little knock on your door that night.
Oh. There's 3 that I'm close with. Who is it?
It's Doris. Standing there, and she you've been mostly talking to her because it's very clear to you that these women all have the sight in one way or another. They don't seem to understand it, but they do seem to have been exposed to things in their lives that would suggest that they have it, and she seems to be the only one who you can really talk to right now and share those deep awful feelings of self-hatred and also all that stuff that's going through Henrik right now. And you share a lot of drugs with each other. She always brings some heroin, and you pay her for her time, so Madame won't be suspicious.
I also will say, I have become close with the 3 women, but I haven't slept with any of them.
Right.
And I pay Doris specifically to come talk, and we literally like sleep in the bed together. And we, like, the comfort of having someone there, we, like, cuddle. I don't even think they've kissed. But he just likes to sleep next to her and also do drugs and talk.
So rank those activities, please.
Okay, so she comes in, and first it's the drugs.
Great.
Immediately,
Number 1.
we take out the drugs. Then we talk.
Got it.
And then lastly, we cuddle in bed.
So you talk once you're on the drugs. So how much of this information or exchange do you retain?
Actually, quite a lot. Yeah, Henrik is he's like a functioning drug addict.
Okay.
Yeah. She seems particularly sad this evening. She shares her story with you, basically how her father abused her as a kid, and then later drank himself to death, and since she was 10, she's been working here. She shares with you, do you ever feel like it gets harder and harder to separate what is real from what is just your imagination?
Yeah, I do. But it wasn't always like that, so it must not be like that forever, right?
Yeah, no. I've just been having the same feeling that I'm being dragged into this dark hole, and that it wants to take me, and I don't know how to escape it anymore. Henry, can you hold me tonight? Not in the way that you usually do, but for real.
Oh. Doris, I don't.
I just need to be with someone.
I don't know if I can do that. You're wonderful. You have been so wonderful to me. I want to be wonderful to you in the same way. You're a good person. I know that. I know you. But I'm not a good person.
She tries to kiss you.
Oh, so complicated. He like lets her. He doesn't like shove her away. He lets her kiss him, but he like stops it before they go further.
Can I stay?
Of course, you can always stay. I don't want to turn you away, and I don't even want to be here. I don't want you to be here. I wish things were different. I wish everything was different. I wish I was different. Sorry. I don't mean to.
No, it's okay. Thank you. You're the only one who's ever treated me like a human. And you fall asleep. The next day at the breakfast, you are having breakfast with Johan. And Algut then presents at the breakfast a little man.
Oh.
Who walks in. A little man.
How little? How small?
It's a regular human still, but it's not a Vassan. But he looks like a messenger man.
Okay.
I don't know why I think that's so funny, but it's like, hello, I have a message. But
He's like the little courier.
and he looks very formal, barely looks at you, and says, Lord Nyberg and his wife's presence is requested by His Grace, Count Peter Schneider, to attend the annual Winter's Ball at the Uppsala Castle on December 10th.
Oh, man. That is just the best news Anne Richmond could hear, because
You want to go to the ball?
want to go to the ball. The king is having a ball.
I'm jealous that they are going to the ball and I'm not.
Well, you might be lucky because Johan says, and then the messenger, like, thank you, and then he leaves.
He, like, clicks his heels together.
Exactly. And then disappears, and then he gives you the proper invitation and all that. Johan says, December 10th, but no, I'm in Greece then. How about you ask that little guy you're hanging out with? Henrik.
Oh, yeah. Well, only if it's all right with you, my love.
Ah, yes, of course. They will think that you might be having an affair or something. How funny, huh? Right?
She says, yes, how funny.
I also like that. I think it's Johan who refers to people as little guys. Yeah. He's like, oh, there's a little guy at the door.
Also, I think Johan is like a Viking-style man who now is a merchant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a big guy in a little coat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, he's...
I love it.
It's just, like, he's so Bjorn-like. He's so, like, bear-like as a human.
I love it.
But, like, he just lives in...
He's got a fancy coat
this,
on.
you know,
And
small life.
And if he's like... I'm sorry for the expression, but like big dick energy, he probably is like very confident that like, well, they will think you have an affair, but like, why would you? I'm amazing.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so he's like, oh, bring Henrik and all that stuff.
Okay.
And Alga, do you think that's a great idea, sir? Are you sure that Henrik should go to the ball?
It's fucking rude, Alget. What the fuck?
She says, well, what have you against Henrik, Alget?
No, it's not that. No, it's not that. But what would he wear?
She kind of like looks down him, and she says, you know, we weren't always as lucky as we are now. I certainly wasn't. But I appreciated every advantage I was given, and if that means that we're going to give a little bit of an advantage to our dear Henrik, then we will give him that advantage. Now, whether or not Henrik will accept these advantages, that's a problem for future Astrid.
And Algot says, but of course, may I suggest to provide some wardrobe suggestions for Henrik then?
Yes, absolutely. What have you got? She like picks up her coffee and she's like ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's play dress up.
Having
in our fake
another
world.
montage.
But when,
Close up on ties.
Ooh.
Close up on shoes.
Ooh.
Close up on hair.
Ooh.
Close up on an ascot. Oh,
Ascot.
why would you wear an ascot and a
and a
tie? It's
tie.
fine. They had to choose between the two.
I'm wearing a cummerbund. Look at my cummerbund. Check out
More
my
like cumber
cummerbund.
fun in my cummerbund.
There's actually, hold on. There is, in services and establishments, if you go to the barber, it
Yeah.
restores 2 mental conditions.
Wow,
Because you
self-care.
look better and you're like, wow, I'm suddenly no longer depressed.
exactly.
So-
Hopefully I'm not mentally broken because I have a sick hairstyle. In the brothel morning,
Yep.
you don't know about the ball yet, so well, all you know is that you've had this night with Doris, and she's gone. She's usually not gone in the mornings, but she's gone this time. And you come down, and the vibe is very weird. A couple of girls are crying in corners. A few others are reading a newspaper. Madame Tekla stands behind the counter, and she looks unbelievably angry and cursing to herself. And she's, yeah.
Henrik, avoiding Madame Tekla for a moment, asks one of the girls if they have an extra newspaper.
Yeah. They found a body of a woman hanging from a tree.
No. Fuck. Henrik immediately, he looks, he doesn't even ask the girl, he looks over the shoulder, and he sees that headline, and he freezes, swallows, and is like, no, like in his mind, just no. He goes to Madame Tekla. Good morning. Have you seen Doris? I was supposed to talk to her this morning.
Well, I'm surprised you haven't noticed earlier. She's been gone for a week. But they found her this morning, hanging from a tree. I paid her a lot. I paid her so much, and the coward, commits suicide.
Henrik is completely aghast, almost falls backward, takes a step back, slips a little bit, grabs the counter, composes himself, is angry that Madame Tekla is saying, one, that Doris is a coward, but also is trying to process what she said, and he says through his teeth, did you just say that she's been gone for a week?
Yes, she disappeared a week ago.
Henrik is off. He's out the door.
Yep, and the episode is ending.
No!
She was dead the whole time.
Oh, thank God I didn't fuck a ghost.
Oh my
no.
God, I wish you had.
I kind of wish I had too.
I
Me
know, but I
too.
think you did the right thing.
Fuck.
I was looking forward to some erotic, weird roleplay,
It
but
was still